As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of Zero to Hero. Today, I am super excited for this episode. Got a longtime friend of mine joining us, former Army Ranger, founder and CEO of Kansas City Cattle Company, Patrick Montgomery. So let's go ahead and bring him in, Patrick Montgomery and Kevin Kwok.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, we're glad you're here. So I have Patrick Montgomery here. So let's get started in a couple sentences. Give me an elevator pitch about who you are, not Kansas City Cattle Company, but yourself.
Sure. So what I like to tell people is born and raised here in the Midwest, and that's kind of where my morality and a lot of the things that have shaped me to where I am now come from, forged by my experiences in the 75th Ranger Regiment. And now I'm a blessed man of 3 children and a wife, and the opportunity to run a pretty awesome company.
Yeah, so tell us a little about your cattle company. Why you went from the Ranger to cattle ranch. So how did that happen?
We've had a couple people pick up on that one, Ranger to rancher. It basically, I was faced with the decision to re-enlist or go try something in the civilian world in late 2014, beginning of 2015 there. And my girlfriend at the time, now wife, was kind of like, man, I think this military thing is kind of tearing you up a little bit. And maybe it's time to go experience something in the civilian world. So, Gino and I were just talking about the fact that, we both thought we were going to be lifers, and I was like, man, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. But I was faced with the fact that now I need to explore. I'm not going to go hunt down bad guys for the rest of my life. So, I came upon the decision of trying to be a veterinarian, large animal veterinarian specifically. And so I exited the military with that career path. And then, a couple things happened along that college career that kind of really convinced me to become an entrepreneur.
Okay. So with this video being a digital marketing agency, and we do a lot of social media things, tell us about your social media journey.
Yeah. I was watching your intro there. That's pretty good. We started out, I typed up this long post about why I was starting Casey Cattle Company, and this was pre-Instagram days, or maybe Instagram had just started at this point. And so it only went on Facebook, and it did really well, right? I was just brutally honest about what we were trying to accomplish with the company and why I was doing it. I got shared 50, 60 times. We had 400 or 500 people that liked our page, and that was kind of the start of our social media. There's been a couple events along the last 5 years of running the company that have really kind of perpetuated us in the right direction. Influencers, some of which have been good. Normally the ones that we build in a organic relationship. Eric Stone Street, here local to Kansas City, is a big supporter of ours. Not something we pay for. He just believes in the mission, believes in the product. Those are worth their weight in gold.
So Justin here said he just ordered from your company, so he
awesome.
said can't go wrong. So,
awesome.
Good stuff. So no, it's so true. I feel like people today, right? They don't necessarily just buy a product or a service, right? They have to believe in the mission, what it's all about. There's more to just a product and service, right? People buy from the people too, right? The founder behind the brand. So that's good stuff. So, all right, every superhero has a defining moment. What is yours when it comes to life and your career?
So for my life, it would be I had the unfortunate experience of my brother-in-law and the guy that kind of convinced me to become an Army Ranger. He died on my first deployment to Afghanistan, and it sounds a little morbid and something that might tear a lot of people up, but I kind of look back on that, and it gave me a perspective on my own life, and kind of gave me the motivation to thrive for those friends that didn't make it back from the places that I fought. So, yeah, that would be the life side. And on the business side, we're known for our hot dogs, man. I had a viral article in 2019. Our hot dogs were hands down our worst seller when we launched them, and I kept grinding, and we sent a pack to Food and Wine Digital, and they proclaimed they're the best hot dog in the world. And luckily there's nothing else to talk about in August 1st, 2019, besides hot dogs, apparently. So we had 1 million people visit the website, had about 12,000 orders overnight. There's 1.5 of us
Wow.
company at that point. So it was pretty stressful. But we kind of went from being a mostly steak company to a mostly hot dog company. So that was an interesting pivot.
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you for your service, right? And then, man, that's a lot of hot dogs.
It's a lot of hot dogs, man. I had 30 in stock when that happened.
So tell us a little about what sets your hot dogs apart from other places.
Well, and people are normally disgusted with hot dogs. So that's kind of where I like to start this conversation. Is we don't throw any of the stuff that's normally thrown into hot dogs in our hot dogs, right? It's strictly what we call in the industry trim. So the stuff that you turn into ground beef is the same stuff we use to make our hot dogs. So that's a big difference there. A couple other ones are there's no nitrates. It's 100% Wagyu beef, so that's also a big contributing factor. Is that the fat's pretty delicious. And then the third is, and some people actually don't like this, but there's no casing, so it's a different eating experience from other hot dogs.
Yeah. So how you came out with the idea to do hot dogs?
Well, I wish I could say a genius, and I knew that it was going to become our number one selling product. But really, we were faced with the fact that our steaks were selling really well when we'd harvest an animal, and then we'd sit on a lot of that ground beef, which unfortunately at that point was the majority of what you get back when you do harvest an animal. So we were kind of faced with this circumstance where all of our cash was tied up in the freezer, and we really needed that cash to keep growing. And so we started creating SKUs that were further processed items, fully cooked. The hot dog being the first and definitely our most successful.
So you told us a little about your social media journey. What about from a marketing perspective? So when you first started, right, a lot of people don't have a budget for marketing, or, especially when it's a cattle ranch, something that's so different. How did you guys start getting the word out? How did people know about you?
Yeah, so I started the company in 2016, and this was even before we were starting selling, and it was just guerrilla marketing at that point, right? I was telling our story and the struggles I was facing on our social media platforms. We didn't do any email marketing at that point because we didn't have any emails.
That helps, right?
Right. So that first 2 years we really focused on the restaurant business. So that would have been half of 2017 and about half of 2018, and it just wasn't working. It's a really tough industry to make a stable business as a startup, unless you got a lot of capital behind you, and we did not. So about halfway through 2018, we kind of diverged and decided to focus on this direct-to-consumer model, and that kind of being the lion's share. So we ended up pulling out of all the restaurants we were selling in, and we were scrapping for cash, right? So I think we had like 12,000 left in our business checking account. And we ended up bringing on this PR firm, and I was like, you can give me all the pitches you want and yada, 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 but like, here's how much cash I have. And you got 3 months to do something with it. Right. And they were straight up bulldogs. Right. So within a couple of months there, they got us a placement on the Today Show, Forbes, New York Times, all of which were great. Nice little sales bumps there, but nothing that was sustainable. And we kind of kept going that route, and we got some more placements on the Today Show, more placements on Forbes. We did an interview on Fox News, which was pretty awesome. But the freaking hot dog article is what really kind of gave us a customer base that fell in love with the product and mission.
So Patrick brought up a very good point here, right? Sometimes people forget about this, especially the people who are, you're at your startup or you're at your, you don't have much left in your bank account and you're just trying to survive. All it takes is that one opportunity. And that's what it sounded like. Patrick's hot dogs was his one opportunity, and it worked out, right? Yeah. And I think as a business owner, we put so much effort towards sales or marketing and all these things, right? And all you need to do is land sometimes just one thing. It's not landing 30 things. It's landing that one thing that can completely transform the trajectory of your business. So, no, good stuff. Okay, let me ask you this. So, to you, what are the attributes that defines a hero? Being a Ranger, in your experience with the military, I'm sure that shaped this question. So, I'd love to hear it from you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of change that question a little bit, and then we'll work back from that. So,
perfect.
Gino would probably agree with me. My experiences in the military, first and foremost, taught me what a bad leader looks like, because you meet a lot of those, unfortunately, when you're in the military. So, I'm a pretty observant guy, especially when it comes to like my emotional intelligence. I spend a lot of time looking at other people and trying to figure out what makes them tick. And so I pull these things away from bad leaders and be like, man, when I have a squad of my own, these are the things I don't want to do to my subordinates. And so, through that, I also had the fortunate experience to serve under some really good leaders, and I'd kind of take qualities from both and figure out the things I do and don't want to do. And so applying that to my everyday life, probably the first and foremost is humility and listening to my subordinates. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I am really good at being like, man, I'm an idiot knuckle dragger that has no idea what I'm doing. But I'm really good at listening to the people around me and trying to find people that are successful and know what they're talking about.
Oh, that's good stuff. So listening is one of the key things, right? Just listening from you. That's one of the key things. Having the willingness and humility, no matter if you're at the top, you have to listen to everyone else. And I think that's something a lot of C-level, C-suite struggle with, right? Because we feel like, hey, we have all this experience. I know more than you. Therefore, hey, you guys are the peons. Why do I have to listen? But the truth is, you can learn a lot from people coming up as well, because it's all about the journey. It's not about the arrival, right? It's about how you get there. And sometimes the people on the front lines, no matter if, business or in personal life, the people on the front line, they're getting to experience it. So they might have better feedback than what you might sitting at the top. So that's important. If you have one superhero that relates best to you, who would that be and why?
Growing up, and especially now, he's kind of the epitome of what I always thought Army Ranger and a good leader should look like. It would be my brother-in-law that was killed in action. So, I kind of started this company for him, trying to find meaning post-military career. And, sitting right here, I have him as my screensaver on my computer. So, it's easy to get kind of bogged down with how tough a business can be. This is crappy here, this is crappy there. The whole world's against me, and then you can kind of look at that picture like that, and it kind of puts your circumstances in perspective. I'm not getting shot at, and I'm still able to enjoy my family and the things that we enjoy here in this country and sometimes take for granted.
Yeah, when you get shot at, it definitely changes your perspective, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get so used to this entitled lifestyle, right? Just waking up and being able to breathe is a blessing, and not everyone has that, right? We're very blessed as a country, just having the ability to have the American dream and build a business. Not everyone can do that in other countries as well. So Well, Patrick, I appreciate you. And tell me, how can people follow you? And tell us a little more about your cattle business, and what kind of products you have available to the people that are watching our show.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an important question. What actually Casey Cattle Company does. We started out in Wagyu beef. It's kind of our claim to fame. It's still hands down our best seller. So we ship to all 50 states. We have a direct consumer local delivery model here in Kansas City. We local delivered about 150 zip codes. And then we are just now starting to crack in pretty heavily into the wholesale model with grocery stores. So that's been something new for this year. If you're looking to follow us and kind of follow our journey, social media and email will probably be the two best ways to do that. At Casey Cattle Company on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then just jump on our website and sign up for our email. Check us out. All right.
Before we end here, so I love to cook a good steak, right? So, and I own a restaurant myself for 4 years, so I understand what good food is, right? So tell the audience here, since you work with cattle all the time, what's one thing you should look for? Good piece of steak.
If you're looking for strictly taste, marbling is going to be the biggest thing you should look for. The more marbling, the more flavor. So if you got the budget for it, a prime or a Wagyu steak is definitely going to be your best flavor. If you're looking for that Wagyu difference, ribeye is definitely the cut you want to buy. And there's plenty other unique cuts out there that you should, and we sell all of them, right? That's kind of our other claim to fame is we sell the biggest variety of Wagyu cuts. So, there's a lot of really good steaks out there.
Michael just asked, do you have a retail store?
We do. We just opened a retail store in Parkville right on Main Street in December. So that's a good way to actually be able to get hands on the product and kind of see the difference between what you can get at the grocery store. Thanks.
What are your hours?
Closed Mondays, Tuesday through Saturday. We're open 11 to 6, and then on Sundays, noon to 4.
Awesome. Go check it out. And okay, one more question. What makes a Wagyu beef so different? And I know it's pricey, but a lot of people I know, I'm sure the audience too, don't know why it's pricey.
Yeah, so Wagyu just means black cow in Japanese. It is an actual breed of cattle that hails from Japan. Basically, what makes it so much more expensive is one, the cattle themselves are incredibly expensive to buy. There's 2 mutations within the genome that allow for all that intramuscular fat, and then the melting temperature of that fat is about 20 degrees less. Secondly, you feed them for almost twice as long as you would traditional breeds. So if you're tracking anything in the ag market right now, grain prices are incredibly expensive, so that's another reason. And then the third is they're a small frame animal, so you're getting less meat back per carcass. No,
that's good stuff. Great information, and it seemed like we have a lot of beef eaters today. So Justin's selling it for you. He said it comes wrapped perfectly, and presentation is incredible. Bring it right.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you.
So good stuff, and I like a good piece of steak, so I definitely need to make my way out there, get it shipped.
Yeah, come up and see us. Where's your restaurant at?
I don't have a restaurant anymore. I was in the restaurant business I closed my restaurant in 2008, so it's been a while.
Well, at least you weren't around for the last couple of years. It's been hard on that restaurant.
Rough, right?
Yeah.
And we were out in Springfield, Missouri. So, but the restaurant business is tough. It's hard. So,
it's really
for
tough.
those of you in the restaurant business, hats to you. It's a tough business. Yeah. So special with COVID and everything. Appreciate you, Patrick. And hey, for our audience, be sure to check it out. I think Gino also posted the website is kccattlecompany.com. All right, Patrick. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
For sure.